Hi everybody, welcome back to Jason Morgan Wildlife Art. Today I'd like to cover glazing again. I've gone into it in some depth on a previous video, but today I just wanted to show you the most common way I use glazing myself, and that is basically just to give the shape and form to the animal or to the underpainting. So at the moment I've already painted one or two layers on this leopard, and I'm just using a thinned glazed mix just to create some shape and form. Now the medium I normally use is by a company called M. Graham, and it's a walnut alkyd medium, and I like the combination of the walnut oil and the alkyd medium, which speeds up the drying. You could also use just standard liquid, although I do find that gets tacky a little bit quicker, so it's not as easy to work with. So to create a glaze I use plenty of medium, and then I add in usually a quite transparent colour. In this case I'm using cadmium yellow deep, and to make that not so orange I'm also using some burnt umber, and you can see that I'm just brushing it on just here and there, just in the darker or deeper coloured areas around the eyes, around the recesses of the eye, and that just pushes the areas back and creates more depth. And obviously the underpainting is completely dry, and because I use alkyd oils that only took a few hours really. I usually let the paintings dry overnight, so nothing underneath on the underpainting is actually moving, it's all dry. And that means if I make a mistake, as I did there, and I put on colour in the wrong area, I can just wipe it off easily. Here I'm just adding that same colour just around the muzzle and the nose, just brushing it on quite freely and roughly, because I know I'll do more glazing layers to come, and I'll also use more opaque layers for more texture and more accurate colours. At this stage of the painting is probably the only time where I'm not particularly worried about painting in the direction of the fur growth, as it's the actual direction of the growth and the fur texture is being seen through this transparent glaze, so it's not critical now. You'll notice also that I'm not changing the mix with the glaze very often, and that's because the cat has already got some shape and form due to the underpainting. If I want an area to be darker, then I would just add some more burnt umber or burnt sienna, a darker colour, and if I want it to be lighter I would just add some more medium to the mix to make it a little bit more transparent again. It's important usually that the edge where the cat actually rounds away from the viewer into the background is usually quite dark and is almost a lost edge. And that gives that more round appearance rather than a cutout appearance. Here I've glazed almost the whole of the back of the cat, and now I'm just smoothing out any brush strokes, any areas where the paint's gone a little bit thick, and then I'm going to re-darken areas on the face. It's important to always go dark enough when you're painting. It's a very common mistake with novices and beginners. They don't do the underpainting dark enough, and that is not going to allow you to then put lighter layers on top. You can see how after only a few minutes work by glazing, it's really added to the shape and form of the cat. I find glazing the orange and yellow type subjects like a leopard or tiger is really beneficial, and it's much easier to get those colours accurately with a glaze rather than painting direct. Whereas subjects that use opaque colours, kind of like an elephant or a rhino, I don't really use glazing that much for that type of subject. Here I'm working on that edge again, just making it darker just so it recedes in the painting more, creating that lost edge. I use very little paint at this stage. You see, it's very infrequently that I'm going back to the palette and actually picking up some fresh paint. You'll also notice that because there's a colour underneath the glaze is kind of optically mixing with that colour and creating a new colour. Kind of like one coloured pane of glass going over another coloured pane of glass. So even though I'm using the same mix really all the way through this short demonstration, it's still blending optically with those colours underneath and creating new colours. And darkening the back fur now just to reseed that area as well. I hope you found this short demonstration quite useful. I've got loads more on my Facebook page and also on my YouTube channel. Hope to see you there soon.